We are almost there. Our last step is to take this and fit it into our application. And so to do that, we got to get out of a main method. We got to get something I can do a little bit more useful object with. Most of it's still applicable. We read the file in, one line at a time, go from there. But a couple things we want to do. As we read the file in, we want to turn it into not a bunch of print line statements, but some objects I can work with. So I can create here a list, control space, java.util.list of people objects or person objects. And we'll create that as an array list. There. All right. And so every time I get a valid person, instead of printing it out, I'm going to do people.add p. So at the end, I have a list of people. I get a printout that the row is bad. Yeah, that's informational. Ideally, we wouldn't have any bad rows in your file. And again, I'm not expecting you to have bad rows in your file. This is just a nice to know. It's something you'd have to do professionally. But now, instead of a main method, let's turn this into just a regular old method that would be something along the lines of returning a list of person and we can actually clean it up one more step and just have it be IO right there. So inside of here I can give it the file name instead. Oops, instead don't need that. Right there. So couple quick lines of code. I made it so I can't run this guy anymore, but I have a component. I have a component that allows me to read people. And then I have, I don't need this to be static anymore. I can take this out right there, and this has to return people at the end. All right, so let me scroll up here a little bit here. What I did was I changed the interface to return a list of people from my read people method, and then at the end I'm returning the people as I'm creating the list of people and I'm adding the people one at a time down here. Again, this code I'll share it with you in a little bit. You can see it. It's no trouble. I actually want to do this in a different context though, so I'm gonna move it all over back into my GUI demo, and then I can test it all at once. If you want to be a perfectionist about this, then you would basically add in a main method inside of here, public static void main string args, and you can do something as simple as a list of person is equal to read people. Nope. Oh shoot, I have to create an object for that. Sorry about that. Reading demo. Demo is equal to new reading demo. I forgot that I turned it into a static there. Demo.read people. This extra there. Oh, look at that. It was spelled wrong the whole time. Reading the demo. Hopefully you noticed that. I didn't. There you go. Read people from people.text. All right. And then system. So if you really want to test it, out.println independently, this would be the way to do it. Quick 3 lines of code here. This has to throw an exception, and then we're good to go. So I can run this code here, and you can see I got a bad row, get bad row, no such element, but then I have my list of people right there. So all the stuff I expected before, there's my last list of people that comes there in the middle. You can see when you're reading with a file, it all happens so bloody quick, it can't even get finished printing one out before it gets the other one in. Doing screen I/O is very slow, That's why everything's moving so fast. You can read files ridiculously quick. All right, so the point being is I've now converted this into a component. Control-Shift-I cleans up my imports right there. I have a component that allows me to read people, and then it has a little helper inside of there. So I'm going to take my reading demo over here, and I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it back into my GUI demo application. I'm going to paste it over here, and I'm going to do a refactor copy. So I'm going to actually change it to be my person reader inside of there. And so essentially what I've done is I'm going from a file reader to a buffered file reader to a person reader to some degree. I've actually moved it so I can read a file and turn it into a list of people. It's not entirely accidental. It's somewhat intentional. I don't necessarily need this main method anymore. I can keep it or I can get rid of it. It's up to you. But now I have this person reader that's part of my bigger GUI application. So in my GUI application, if I go back to that, it was built to allow me to basically show, add in people. So I can move this up, submit, and quit, and then I can go through and I can add in some stuff that allow me to show this stuff. So I can take a text area over here. If you see over on the side, I can take a text area and drag and drop it. It's a big fat text area inside of here. I'm going to go to this text area, and when I click on it, you can see over here the top box is editable. I'm going to unclick that because I don't want it to be editable. I don't want the person to be able to write into it, but I do want a box out there. I'm going to right-click on this and change the variable name, and this is going to be my people output. All right, and then I can add a button over here. Right-click, change the variable name, show button. And then I'm going to hit F2 on the. I'm going to click on the button, hit F2. This will be show, and then I can double click it, and you can see now I have the action. So my action then is I want to go to my person reader. So I say a new person reader, and I need to read a file. I need to give it a file name inside of there. So people, P-E-O-P-L.text. It's the file I just had. Now, this throws an exception. I'm in a GUI. I have to deal with the exception. Alt-Enter. I can't. Oops, nope, that's not what I'm looking for. Alt-Enter. Wait a minute. Oh, no, I did something. I'm sorry. It's not the right thing. I started typing in something before I did. Reader.read people. People.text. There you go. Now I have to deal with the exception. It's coming up. Alt-Enter. I can start it with a try-catch statement. Logging, it's fine. I can do a pop-up. Either way I want to do it. So I can do a J option pane. Show message dialog for this guy. And I want to say unable to open file. So once I got my reader, I need to get a list here of person objects. Then I can loop through these person objects and add them to my display. So for person P is in people. So that's my looping through an array. I can go to that item I just created. So the, what did I call it? People output. There you go. And I can append to that the person object as a toString. Or I can do it in individual fields if I want to format it better than that. I'm just doing it as a toString now. And the other trick I want to put inside of here is I can do people output.append and add in a new line character. If I can, /n. So that'll put a line between each person. So now that I have my GUI, I can just integrate with my reader by reading the lines and throwing it into the display one at a time. So let's take a look at that. Run it. Here's my display. I hit show, and there's my people object showing up. I can make this bigger if I want to, except for it doesn't make this any bigger. Oh yeah, and notice here it's reading the people from the file I created beforehand. So now I go back here, I can say the person is Barack Obama, he's 49 or whatever he is. I said submit, I can say show people again, and then at the bottom there's Barack Obama. So I'm reading the same format as I was writing, and so my application now has come full circle. I successfully saved it. I probably could clean this up a little bit from where everything's at, but it's a good start. The one trick you're going to have in your application is you're not just going to be reading in the file, you're going to be asked doing some processing. Let's take that up in one more session.